If it's happening in professional wrestling, we're breaking it down. The matches, the moments, the rumors, and yes, even the hot takes. This is Pro Wrestling Focus. No nonsense, no wasted motion, just pure wrestling talk. Now, here's your host, Cody Springer.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Focus. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about some of the latest headlines that is making waves in the pro wrestling news cycle. And we'll also be talking about SmackDown from this past Friday, returning to 2 hours on the USA Network. And we'll be previewing Saturday night's main event coming up this weekend on Peacock and NBC. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. All right, let's talk about the heat surrounding Jacob Fatu right now. Over the weekend, a new rap track dropped called Hello, featuring none other than WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi. Yes, Jacob Fatu's uncle, and it's Jacob Fatu on the mic. The track's caught fire, but not for the right reasons. The issue is that Fatu uses the N-word in the song. And the reactions online, they've been intense and divisive. Now listen, this is a sensitive topic and it deserves a thoughtful conversation, not just keyboard outrage or blind defending. So let's break it down. Let's talk about the fan reactions here. Plenty of fans are calling it out. They feel that there's no justification for someone who's not black to be using that word, period. Especially a word with such deep-rooted, painful history tied to the African-American community. Some have questioned whether being Samoan gives Jacob a pass, and most people are saying, no, it doesn't. There's also this narrative out there that Samoan wrestlers, especially in WWE, are untouchable, that they don't get held to the same standard, and this has only fueled that belief. Even longtime supporters of Jacob Fatu are disappointed. They've rocked with him for years in MLW, now in WWE, and this felt like a misstep that didn't need to happen. But not everyone's on the same page. Some people are defending him, saying it's part of the culture where he grew up, that he probably heard it all the time in the Bay Area or from the people around him. That doesn't make it okay, but that's part of the argument. As far as my take on the whole situation, look, I'm just going to be honest. I don't think Jacob Fatu should have said it, point blank. If he says it in private with family, fine. That's his business. But putting it on a track with his name and Rikishi's name attached to it, that's now public. And public consequences can follow. For me, I hate the word, especially the hard R version. But even the casual version, I don't use it. And I don't think it should be glorified in music or media by people who don't come from that lineage. I have black family members who do use the word. That's their call. I'm not offended by them using it. But Jacob isn't black. He's American Samoan. He's not mixed. If he were half black, I could at least see the perspective, but he's not. And I don't think anyone should be trying to claim culture that isn't theirs just because they're part of a minority too. That's not how it works. Do I think the WWE will punish him for it? No. I don't think they'll say anything publicly, but I do think there will be a closed door conversation like, hey, you're under our umbrella now. Watch what you put out there. Don't create problems we have to clean up. They're already dealing with enough controversies without this being one of them. This doesn't cancel Jacob Fatu, but it does put him under the microscope. And if he wants to be a top guy in WWE long term, he's got to move smarter than this. All right, let's talk about the latest buzz surrounding Karrion, Kross, and Scarlett's WWE contract status, because it sounds like some people were getting nervous. But let me go ahead and calm that down real quick. According to Sean Ross Sapp and multiple sources floating around the internet wrestling community, Kross and Scarlett aren't going anywhere. Yeah, their contracts might be coming up soon, but everything points to them re-signing with WWE. And frankly, they'd be stupid not to, because the momentum is finally starting to shift in their favor. Let's lay out the facts. Kross has been on screen more than ever lately. He just had a PLE match at Night of Champions against Sami Zayn, and while Kross lost the match, the storyline continued on Raw with Kross beating Sami down backstage. That ain't the kind of booking you give to someone on the way out. WWE rolled out new Karrion Kross merchandise, and let's be real, they don't do that unless they see value. Not only that, Kross has been consistently in the top 5 in merch sales the last few months. That's no joke. Fans are buying, literally. Backstage word is that WWE expects Kross and Scarlett to re-sign, and I think that's the smart play for both sides. Sure, Kross tends to keep his contract details quiet, that's just how he rolls, but no company is putting this kind of creative energy into someone they expect to lose. Now let's address the fan chatter, because like always, people on X and Reddit have opinions. A lot of fans like the Kross and Scarlett package. That entrance, the intensity, the mystique, it's all there. People are starting to see potential again, especially with his renewed aggression and presence in recent months. The Sami Zayn feud, it's working, it's layered, psychological. That's where Kross thrives. But some fans still can't shake off the stink from his 2021 Gladiator helmet disaster on Raw. Can't blame them. That was a burial. There's talk that Kross hasn't evolved much, that the character needs more layers and less spoken word promos. And Scarlett, she's polarizing. Some people love the dynamic. Others say she's just standing there doing TikTok cosplay. But here's my thoughts. Look, I hope they stay. I hope WWE finally commits to pushing Kross the right way. This dude's been catching fire lately. He's selling merch, getting screen time, and let's not ignore this. He's got a look that screams main event. When he came back in 2022 and laid out Drew McIntyre, I thought we were off to the races. He had the hourglass, he stared down Roman Reigns, it was hot. And then creative forgot who he was. But now we're in 2025 and the opportunity to right that wrong is right in front of them. WWE has fumbled a lot of things in the past, but they've also shown they can rebuild people when the timing is right. This could be it for Kross. He's too talented, too unique, and too damn marketable to not be doing more. If Kross and Scarlett re-sign and WWE keeps this trajectory going, we could be looking at a dark horse main event run before year's end. Let's just hope they don't fumble at this time. All right, let's talk about Friday Night SmackDown from the 4th of July. And this episode right here, if you're lighting off fireworks, this kind of felt more like a sparkler than a grand finale. Let's break it down. The show literally kicked off with chaos. A parking lot brawl between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa's new squad, comprised of JC Mateo, Tala Tonga, and Tonga Loa. Fatu went into full beast mode early, but this crew is deep now, and it set the tone for the rest of the night. Fast forward to the main event, Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso versus Solo and JC Mateo. And look, Fatu gets the pin on Solo. Clean. No shenanigans, no distractions. Just 1, 2, 3. I'm over here like, are you fucking kidding me? You had 3 guys help Solo beat Jacob at Night of Champions, making it a huge production to get the belt off of Fatu. And now Solo's out here getting pinned clean like he's some jobber. How does that make any damn sense? Then, of course, Tonga Loa and Tala Tonga show up after the match and destroy Fatu and Jimmy. Jacob gets powerbombed through the announce table, and yeah, I get it. They're trying to keep this feud hot, but the booking logic was all out of whack. If Jacob and Jimmy had lost due to interference, that would have protected them and made Solo's squad look dangerous, but instead, Jacob pins the new champ clean, then gets destroyed. It's just bad storytelling, period. Nobody looks better coming out of that. But we have some good news. Drew McIntyre made his return and immediately crashed a Cody Rhodes Randy Orton promo segment, which led to Orton hitting him with an RKO. Later, Drew confronted Nick Aldis backstage and demanded a match with Orton, and it's official. Drew versus Orton at Saturday night's main event. This is good. This is the kind of the kind of meat and potatoes storytelling that WWE does well. Personal rivalries, 2 heavyweights, a history of violence. Simple and effective. And then we also found out Tiffany Stratton will defend her title at WWE Evolution against Trish Stratus. Yeah, that happened. But honestly, the announcement felt underwhelming. Maybe it's because Jade Cargill was also in that segment, and I'm still pissed off from that trash Queen of the Ring final. That match still tastes like expired milk. Elsewhere, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss qualified for the women's tag team title Fatal 4-Way for Evolution. They beat B-Fab and Mi Chin and the Secret Purvis. And the Wyatt Six, they picked up a big win in 8-man tag action, especially after Johnny Gargano bailed on his partners mid-match. And now we're set up for a WWE tag team title shot, the Wyatt Six against the Street Profits. And I'm interested. The vibe is there, the chaos is real, and they've got momentum. Also, shout out to Andrade and Rey Fenix. They beat Fraxium in what was the match of the night. Fast-paced, stiff, crisp. This is how you establish a tag team. SmackDown's tag division is quietly heating up, and I'm here for it. Now, overall thoughts, SmackDown is back to 2 hours, and I love that. It flowed better. It didn't feel bloated or dragged down by filler. But the show itself, it was flat. Like soda left open overnight. Drew's return, good. Tag team division, solid. The Wyatt Six's push, promising. Bloodline booking, trash. They're trying to build towards SummerSlam, Evolution, and maybe even Survivor Series style Bloodline War. But inconsistent logic like Solo getting pinned clean after needing an army to win the last PLE is the kind of stuff that derails momentum fast. Fix it, WWE. Book smarter. Final score for SmackDown, I'll give it a soft 6 out of 10. Good ingredients, but someone overcooked the damn meal. All right, Saturday night's main event is coming up, and on paper, it doesn't look bad at all. You've got some bangers, some potential car crashes, and some major red flags. Let's get into this. We're going to start off with Gunther versus Goldberg for the World Heavyweight Championship. And look, I'm going to be blunt here. I don't like this. I get it. Goldberg's final match, hometown crowd in Atlanta, legendary name, nostalgia pop, all that jazz. But we're putting him in the ring with Gunther, one of the most dominant champions that WWE has built in the last decade. And we're doing it with the world title on the line. This ain't it. Gunther should be running through people like a freight train. This match should be about cementing his legacy, not potentially handing him a fluke loss just to give Goldberg a feel-good exit. And I swear to God, if Goldberg wins, only for Seth Rollins to cash in Money in the Bank, don't expect me to cheer. That's not drama, that's cheap heat. That's WWE saying, we know this is stupid, but we'll fix it 5 minutes later. I don't want to fix. I want smart booking from the start. If they're doing this to butter up Gage Goldberg for a future WWE run, cool. But don't burn Gunther's momentum to do it. That's like lighting a Rolex on fire to impress a kid with a plastic watch. Gunther should wreck Goldberg. Let the crowd cry about it, and we move on. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Now, this is more my speed. We've seen these two go to war before. There's history, heat, and physicality. You want storytelling? Look at Orton's slow evolution back into a darker version of himself, and now Drew's return is poking the Viper again. This feels like the start of something bigger. I don't expect a clean finish. I expect physicality, maybe even a double count out or someone gets DQ'd for snapping. Because this ain't about wins and losses yet. It's about escalation. This feud could stretch to SummerSlam, and I'm here for that. Seth Rollins versus L.A. Knight. This is the wild card of the night right here. Rollins versus Knight is a fresh matchup, and it needs to deliver, especially for LA Knight, who's been flirting with the main event for a while but keeps coming up short. Didn't win Money in the Bank, didn't win the big ones lately. He needs this. Rollins, meanwhile, he is walking around with the Money in the Bank briefcase, talking slick, inserting himself in other people's business, and feeling like the biggest agent of chaos on the roster right now. The way I see it, if Rollins loses clean tonight, then he's almost definitely cashing in later that night. That's WWE one-on-one booking. But here's what I don't want. A Rollins win that buries Knight's momentum further. You want to heat Knight up for a possible title feud down the line? Let him beat Rollins, clean or controversial, I don't care. Just don't waste this opportunity to elevate the guy who's got the crowd behind him every damn week. Now, here's my overall thoughts. Now, to be fair, I fully expect a couple more matches to get thrown onto this card last minute. Maybe a tag team match or, maybe a mid-card title match. And that would be fine. But based on what we've got, Saturday night's main event is shaping up to be important but risky. If they book it smart, Gunther will look like a killer. Rollins will cash in strategically. Drew and Orton will brawl like it's 2020 all over again. And LA Knight will get a big time win. But if they screw it up, Goldberg will win the title and Rollins cashes in with a fart of a moment. LA Knight will eat another loss. Gunther looks weak in a retirement sideshow, and the crowd walks away feeling like they just got another overbooked house show. WWE, you are on thin ice with this one. You can make it feel special. Just don't insult the fans' intelligence while you're doing it. But here's why I think. Gunther will win because he better win. Rollins teases the cash in but holds off. LA Knight beats Seth Rollins. My fingers are crossed. And then Drew versus Orton ends in chaos. Let's see if Triple H can thread this needle. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you for listening and supporting as always. And if you're new, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Listen to anywhere you get your podcasts, and I'll be back later on this week for my predictions for WWE Evolution. And it's going to be a busy weekend in WWE with Saturday night's main event on Saturday and then Evolution on Sunday. And I will be recapping all of the chaos on next week's show for sure. You know, the fallout from Saturday night's main event and my review of Evolution. So stay tuned for all of that. And I will be back here soon. Like I said, I'll be back later on in the week, probably Friday, I would say, for my predictions for Evolution. Either Thursday or Friday. I haven't really decided yet, but stay tuned for all that. And this is my reminder to you guys, even though, there's some questionable booking, enjoy wrestling and stay focused.